It's the Writers Roundtable, and we are fresh off the NFL draft. Matt, what are we going to talk about tonight?
Well, first of all, welcome back. First pod back together after Kansas City. Glad to see you made it through the weekend in one piece.
Survived all those picks, all those Dan Campbell, man. Come on.
There was a whirlwind of chaos this draft weekend. So we're going to talk all about the post-draft fantasy fallout. What do these landing spots mean? What does Lamar Jackson's contract mean? That happened on Thursday as well. And just a refresh reminder, no one cares about Aaron Rodgers. All right, let's start the show. We got Jason Allwine and Ed DeLauter.
No one cares about Aaron Rodgers. Here we go, guys. Here we go. Hello, everybody, and if I hit, let's see, there we go. I got it right this time. It's the overlay. Welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for coming on the program this evening. Can't thank you enough.
Glad to be here. I also don't care about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, absolutely hate Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, the future 9-8 New York Jets with all of his rusty receivers he's bringing with him. What's the logic behind that? Like, what Aaron Rodgers is? How long is he going to play? Like another year, or then you're just going to follow him to New York, and then you're going to be anyway. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, it's like why work to establish relationships with a new business, right? When you could just bring your old friends along, just get to putz around. Be the same quarterback you've been forever with the same receivers.
When 12 people like you, you kind of got to keep that same.
People exactly.
Wow. See, that makes more sense. That's why you're the co-host. All right. So the NFL draft just happened, right? So there's a lot we can dive into, but I'm just going to start with this, Ed. What was the most shocking part for you of the NFL draft?
Well, perhaps maybe not the most shocking, but to me, as somebody who did a lot of mocks prior to the draft and a couple, actual rookie drafts, in actual leagues prior to the draft, Sam Laporta going tight end 2 in the second round above Mayer, above Musgrave was a huge shock. I mean, this is a guy you usually got in the 4th round of rookie drafts, even in tight end premium leagues. And the Lions taking him there, I mean, they made a lot of other interesting choices, right? Particularly on day one. But I think Laporta there, particularly over Mayer and Musgrave, is a bit of a surprise. Particularly, I mean, if you, I guess in theorizing it out, right? If you want Laporta to maybe stretch the field, maybe Mayer can't really do that, but you can still take Musgrave, who's like, I think a lot more athletic than what Laporta is to do that. So. That was pretty shocking for me. I was also pretty shocked that Gabe Davis survived the NFL draft as well, and I was pretty happy about that. But he did survive. No Nuke Hopkins on the Bills. I think they drafted Justin Shorter. I don't think that's going to do anything for Gabe Davis stock. So buy Gabe Davis and redraft all day, every day, and good things will happen.
What'd you think, Jason? What was your biggest shock? We were in the NFL media room together, you and I.
Yeah.
What was your biggest?
And you can maybe attest to this. It kind of moved a little fast. It was all a blur. So, I mean, really, the big shock was just that whole experience in general. What a time to share that with you. That was great. But I'll take the easy answer here, and that's of course just Jahmyr Gibbs going so early. I think we had started to hear some rumblings that he was going to go in the first round, but I just don't think anyone could have predicted as early as he did. Just a big shocker to me. We'll see if it works. I'm not really thinking it'll work in the terms of, a first round pick running back in the NFL draft work, but I think he'll probably be fine.
Yeah, they must really not like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
I mean, because I wrote this in the show, and I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but they paid a heck of a lot because they don't like DeAndre Swift, because I don't know how much better Gibbs is,
Probably not.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
I can't even really. I've been thinking of it in my head. I can't really think of any mental gymnastics that make the move make sense. But they wanted their guy. The reports are that they were comfortable taking him at 6, which just doesn't make sense because you would have taken Bijan if you really wanted a running back there, right? Right. I think that might be smoke to kind of appease the general managers they traded back with. Like, oh yeah, we would have taken him at 6 for sure. But nevertheless, a wild move. What surprised me the most is I kind of written off Chris Ballard as a fake sharp, but he's hashtag back. He had an incredible draft, the best draft, some would say. He bet on athleticism. He let the draft come to him. He let teams in front of him make mistakes. These are the things that make for a really good draft. And when you take these bets, you generally succeed. You generally hit on them. So the Colts had a great draft, especially taking Anthony Richardson. That's going to be incredibly exciting with this offense to see what they set up. And CJ Stroud, we talked about, Jason had an incredible question, which we found out that CJ Stroud would cut off his leg to be with Jackson Smith and Jigba again. But then we all know that wasn't really feasible. He allegedly went to the Texans and asked for Nathaniel Dell to be on his team. And then the Houston Texans, Nathaniel Dell went to Houston. So staying home, going to Houston, that's a really interesting pairing. Really interesting that CJ Stroud, that's like a pseudo locker room narrative. Like, I wish I would have had this guy on my college team type of vibes. And then finally, what in the world are the Broncos doing at receiver? They draft Jerry Jeudy's replacement, and then they sign $12 million more away to Jerry Jeudy on his 5th-year option. What's that about?
Yeah, we'll talk more about the Broncos receiving room. I don't know, man. Doesn't Sean Payton kind of give you John Gruden vibes? I don't know. Like, that's kind of the first thing I thought of. It's like, what's an old school coach coming in, is taking some time off to go work at Fox or whatever, and now he comes back in and you're like, what is going on here? Some of these moves don't really add up. It's almost like you're a bit, I don't know. I hate to call Sean, because I think Sean Payton's a good coach, but
I think you're trying to say washed.
You said it for, well, if they're putting him in charge of personnel, then I don't know if that's the best idea. I don't know if they are or not, but it certainly seems like some of these decisions. I mean, I love Marvin Mims, and I think long term that's probably going to be a good spot for him. We'll talk more about that later. But as far as NFL draft goes, Jason was alluding to it. And I just have to say, what an opportunity that was. What a fantastic experience. I'll never forget it. And, it was just out of this world. Like, it far exceeded all of my wildest expectations. And just, to see these players, like, literally feet away from them. Jason asks amazing questions. I think this is like not blowing any smoke to you, bro, but some of the best questions in that room. I mean, we had somebody ask Anthony Richardson if he would enjoy playing for Frank Reich. I mean, come on, like, this is not. And the kudos to Anthony Richardson too, because he took it in stride and he was quick on with his response, and he knew that Frank Reich wasn't the coach, clearly. Yeah. And he just said, God, I don't think you want to ask me that question. Next question, please. So that just tremendous experience in Kansas City. Kansas City did a great job with the draft. But as far as, there's so much to take away, there's so much to digest from it. And I think the biggest reaction that our guys got on the live stream, like the Podfather and Alex Dunlap and Cody, was the trade up that the Texans made. That was a big shocker, moving up to 3 to take a defensive lineman. And we were talking before the show how some people were trying to galaxy brain this decision to say, well, like, really, if you think about it, man, like, they really traded up for a quarterback. So if you think, like, no, they could have stayed at 2, taken the quarterback, and then gotten a pass rusher later on in the draft. All right? I know they would have missed out on Will Anderson, but as the Podfather pointed out very astutely in the live stream, they could have gotten a 90% of the same pass rusher that Will Anderson is. And Will Anderson's a fantastic player, don't get me wrong. Will Anderson's, deserved to be a top 5 pick in this draft. But to pay what they paid to go get Will Anderson when they could have got somebody pretty much the same at 12, like 80-90% of the player. Huge mistake. And then you're likely that pick is likely going to be a good pick next year. So that was questionable. I think Ryan Poles did a solid job. My Bears make this a Bears show 10 minutes in. I was pleased with Ryan Poles. And I think the Colts selecting Anthony Richardson at pick number 4, I've said it on this show before, I would have taken him at number 1 overall. And Marcus Mosher said that today on Mind of Mansion. He said he was his number 1 quarterback. Matt Waldman, same thing. So I'm not alone here. So some smart people, not just my dumb behind on this show, saying that Anthony Richardson's the number 1 quarterback. Should have been taken number 1 overall. The Colts finally, I think, have a solution at quarterback finally. So those were some of my takeaways on what was a fantastic NFL draft experience. I can't say enough good things about it.
It was a fantastic NFL draft, but were the results for some of these players from a fantasy perspective as good as we think we are? We've all been there before where you hype up a movie or an album for so long, and then when it happens, it's just not what you think it was. And we had some questionable landing spots. So Jason, now that the landing spots in draft capital are finalized, are we liking this class more or less as dynasty assets than we did a week ago?
I think you've just got to go with less, and I think this is probably the cycle every year. We all get in love with athletes, with prospects, with what could be, and then the draft happens and we realize what is, and it's never ever what we want it to be, ever.
Short, simple, and depressing. I love it.
Anthony Richardson to the Colts. Did not expect that. I'm glad that that's the landing spot he got. That's probably the best one he could get. That's amazing. But for everyone else, it's just meh. Or maybe Bijan's a good spot, but still, the point holds.
Yeah, Bijan having an Uber landing spot was, I think, already priced into his dynasty value. Right. So, but otherwise, Bijan aside, and a couple others aside in the running back. The rest of this running back class is just poop now. It's just poop. I don't want any of it. They're all handcuffs. They're all handcuffs.
Poop. Language.
They are poop.
There are children watching this show.
They are poop, Matthew. Okay. And it's sad to say because I love a lot of these guys. There's 10 of them I think had a speed score above 100, which is usually the threshold I look at. And unfortunately, most of them are just handcuffs at this point. And it's sad. It's so sad.
What are you talking about? Roschon Johnson's a bear, baby.
He is.
Roschon Johnson's a bear. He's going to be. That was the saving grace on day 3. The savior, the Lord and Savior
of the whole
himself,
draft.
Roschon Johnson descends down upon the heavens as the day 3 savior of the class to the Chicago Bears. Come on, that's it. That's the ticket.
I'm surprised you're not selling me on Tank Bigsby. Surprised.
Tank. Yeah. I was arguing. I don't know if you guys do this or not. I was arguing with people on Twitter. Do you guys spend time doing that?
Yeah, I did it right after the draft.
Absolute time suck.
During the draft.
Yeah.
Never do it.
I don't know how to do it right, apparently, because apparently I set the world on fire by saying that Roschon Johnson, and I thought I was kind of tame with this. I thought this was pretty generally accepted, like a universal truth at this point, that Roschon Johnson, I said, would have a 50% snap share by week 6, and that's
scorching, man. That's just.
What about Khalil Herbert? What about Khalil Herbert? What about Khalil Herbert? What about him? What about him? He's not good in pass protection. He doesn't catch passes. What about him? He was drafted in the 6th round. Don't get me wrong. I like Khalil Herbert, but Roschon Johnson is a 4th round pick, early 4th round pick, and is this year's Dameon Pierce, Josh Jacobs. His best pick comparable player on playerprofiler.com is Josh Jacobs, and I think that's pretty good. And for a Bears team that, I don't know, was like the leading rushing team in the NFL. Well, thanks to Justin Fields, but was pretty good at running the football last year with David Montgomery. I mean, that's the one I think that I can point to. But I don't think I'm as down as you guys are. I like the Kendre Miller landing spot. I know how we feel about Devon Achane, but in Miami, I mean, come on, he's got to go up the rankings.
Yep.
And Bijan Robinson got a pretty good landing spot with Atlanta, another team that just likes to run the ball. And Jahmyr Gibbs. Then they traded Swift. I mean, regardless of it's a stupid decision, but there's some good, like I just listed like 5 or 6 running backs with good landing spots and decent draft capital.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. That's pretty good, right?
It's 5 running backs. 5 running backs.
Well, I'm not.
I play in 12.
I'm not good at counting.
I play in 12-team leagues, not 5-team leagues. Okay.
The distinction is more or less than we did a week ago. Okay, so like let's go back by back. Bijan is the same because we knew what this was going to be when we went into it. Gibbs is we obviously like Gibbs more. He got unreal draft capital and a good landing spot. I feel like we like Achane the same because he was going to land in this situation no matter what. He got a little bit higher draft capital than I think some would have predicted, but third round is where we kind of thought he was going to go. Kendre Miller got high draft capital, but are we really thinking he's going to be commanding a backfield for 3+ years? Because some people think he's that dude, and I think he could, but I don't know. Overall, I think as an RB class, I'm a little. You know what? I've flipped in real time because running backs, I like the receiver landing spots. So because that's been my take the whole time, and that's on the show sheet. But I think Seth talked me into liking some of the running back landing spots a little bit more. Just some of the Kendre Millers but when we look at the receiver landing spots, this is when I think some of these receivers gain some value. So we talk about Njigba went to Seattle. Tyler Lockett's on his way out, so it may not be the best year one that you want, but his value is going to be there. Jordan Addison in Minnesota, he's going to be off to the races running from moment one. The best landing spot for receivers in this draft. Zay Flowers in Baltimore could be a really good landing spot, and it could be a really bad landing spot. So that's it just depends on how they want to set up that offense and how real of a threat to targets receivers like Odell Beckham are. Quentin Johnston, once Mike Williams leaves at the end of this season. Jonathan Mingo in Carolina and Jayden Reed in Green Bay. There's a lot of value there in these receiver landing spots. I think in 2020, we saw a receiver class where there's a lot of hype and not a lot of good landing spots. We had a lot of hype, a lot on these receivers, and the draft kind of delivered for all of them. So, a wishy-washy answer, but I'm kind of in the middle. I love the receivers and the running backs. I was fading to start, and I'm going to continue to pretty much fade. Besides Bijan, Roshan, and Gibbs.
Do we want to even touch this question? I mean, this could open up a Pandora's box of. So so the question is from Vatican. Thank you for watching, Vatican. If that's how Vatican, like the Vatican,
the Pope is watching us.
Pope. He looks like a pope.
This is a player profiler first.
So
it's
he
Tom Brady.
Says, "Are we 100% sure?" And I'm sure we'll talk about Zach. Somehow we've dodged the Zach Charbonnet bullet.
I'm ready.
To this point,
I'm ready.
Are we 100% sure they didn't take Charbonnet to be the 1A by the end of the season and Walker the 1B? People say Walker analytically wasn't the best. Charbonnet bigger back and better pass catcher. Is he crazy? What do you guys think?
No, I mean, he's not crazy. It's within the range of outcomes, I think. Is it highly unlikely? No, I mean, no, I guess not. But I mean, Walker was just such a stud last year in the NFL, and it's so hard to fade that. And I think when that pick was made, that was another huge shock, right? Was Charbonnet's landing spot there. It's not an outlandish take, but I'd be hard pressed to believe it that Charbonnet overtakes Walker in that backfield. Just how nasty of a runner Walker is,
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, Charbonnet's profile never really. I mean, it was good profile, good production, nothing like Ken Walker. I mean, Ken Walker's college dominator rating was off the charts at Michigan State. So Harry Snowman, we got Harry Snowman in the chat. You said it here. Roschon Johnson, yeah. Oh, yeah. So,
Wait.
You're going to get what?
I'm confused on whether Roschon is the next Dameon Pierce is supposed to be a good thing or a bad thing. Because it was followed. It sounded like a bad thing. Because I don't. Whoa.
Dameon Pierce survived.
You like Roschon Johnson. Why are we wishing Dameon Pierce on him? He's
a good year.
Not going to survive another year.
How do you know? He might be good.
I think it's more likely
if the Texans make any strides whatsoever. If the Texans make any strides whatsoever, they have drafted a runner. It's the draft capital. You cannot get away from it.
I think it's more likely that Devon Singletary is the 1A in the Texans backfield compared to Charbonnet being the 1A in the Seahawks backfield.
Fucking quote it. I want that on Twitter immediately.
No, we don't need to put no.
No.
It's Ed gets
Devon Singletary.
That's
Is that what I heard?
It's more likely. I think it's more likely. Yeah, absolutely.
Devon Singletary, slow and small.
Okay.
He's slow and small. Is what he is. We like. It's like me. I'm slow, but I make up for it by being small. Is what that's my athletic profile. All right. Next question before we just completely go off the rails. Well, we're already there. So based on the landing spots, and we've kind of talked about this already, which player? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Did I mess this up? I meant to say, okay, the question as it stands, which player is going to be on all of your dynasty teams, and which player are you going to be passing on at the current value? So, which player is going to be on all of your dynasty teams? Which player is going to be on like none of your dynasty teams? Ed, what you got? Devon Singletary or Gabe Davis, or who's your Gabe Davis? Who's your Gabe Davis of this year's draft class? And who's your Dameon Pierce, because you hate Dameon Pierce?
Michael Wilson is my Gabe Davis of this draft class. He got solid draft capital in the third round.
Pick. That's a good pick.
And he's still like, I obviously the rookie draft ADP hasn't really consolidated at this point because we're still like, less than a week, from the draft, right? And I still see him going in the fourth round of rookie drafts, and I feel like that's way too low considering that situation there. I mean, granted, it's going to be terrible this year with Kyler on the mend, but even if Kyler returns and he's not there next year because they draft Caleb Williams in the first round, right? He's still going to be in a really good situation during that the 4 years of his rookie contract. So I'm definitely smashing Michael Wilson. And with somebody who I'm like avoiding just based on where his ADP is going is probably Dalton Kincaid. Spending a first round rookie pick on a tight end, man, I'd rather just trade that pick for like an established tight end at that point. And I'm not saying that like that value is unwarranted. And I think it probably speaks volumes to how just poop this draft class is, right? But that's probably one player I am pretty hesitant to spend like the super flex 109 on, right? I've seen that, like that's absurd. And I'd probably just am flipping that pick for an established tight end as opposed to taking a gamble that some 23-year-old rookie who I don't have an athletic profile for is going to just ball out and be, the next Travis Kelce, because that's probably very unlikely.
What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I think might have gone a bit too deep on this, but we'll take it. In some deeper super flex leagues, I'm definitely taking a chance on my guy Stetson Bennett, the mailman.
Yeah.
I like the landing spot. I'll draft a backup quarterback on the Rams with the chance to learn under Matthew Stafford, learn with Sean McVay. It's going to take some time, but I mean, Stetson Bennett had all the time in the world at UGA, so why not all the time in the world at the NFL? But probably a more realistic pick is Devon Achane. I love the landing spot, and that can't be understated. we just saw Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson basically finish the entire year. They have had their health concerns. Devon Achane has his concerns, but Mike McDaniel will scheme up great stuff for him, and when healthy, I see him splashing in a big way. So I'm going to bet on that profile. Guy I'm passing on, I'll list 2 Bryce Young in Superflex leagues and Zay Flowers, not touching.
Ooh,
right.
I like
That's
that.
spicy. That's spicy.
Like that, actually. So
is that an anti like Ravens take? Like you just don't think like because obviously we got Rashad Bateman, OBJ, Mark Andrews. I mean with avoiding a cliche. I mean that's like a lot of bricks in the brick bag.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a lot of brick. That's a lot. You don't have too many. You've got too many bricks.
Stop talking about bricks.
And not enough building.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense. If Mike Lombardi can say some of the stuff he says, I can say some of the stuff I can say. All right. If that guy gets away with it, why can't I? All right. So is it like an anti-Ravens take or what's like?
I mean that, and I mean I think that we can probably all attest to this. Rookie draft picks are valuable, and wide receivers are usually not. I took the 108 in one of my leagues, for example, and this was before the draft, but I got George Pickens and KJ Osborne. Of course, KJ Osborne was hurt, but I think that that's a move. I like Pickens a lot. I think there's some second-year wide receivers just in general that you can kind of take your mid to end of first-round draft picks and take a chance on one of those guys instead and maybe get someone tossed in on top. So that's kind of where I'm at in terms of a value and also situation type of decision.
All right.
For sure.
Respect.
I get it. I don't know if I necessarily agree, but I can't sit here and say that I can't see in the range of outcomes where he goes into that muddled situation and then just equal to Rashad Bateman just never really seems to come out of it as a significant producer. So I think his profile is the type of profile that you want to bet on, and what side you are on that gamble is obviously what wins and loses leagues in these situations. So I'm going to be taking the bet on Flowers personally, but I'm also going to be taking a lot of shots on Jordan Addison as long as his price is still where it is currently. I mean, he's got to be your wide receiver too, and it's not really that close in terms of year one production. I think he's going to outscore Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think Jordan Addison's going to be the wide receiver 1 in this rookie class, his rookie year, just because of where he lands and then, the team profile of Minnesota and how much they're trying to throw the ball still. So I'm all in on Addison right now. I'm definitely not in on Zachary Charbonnet in any situation. LOL. Rest in peace. It was Jack Kavanaugh who mocked me on Mock Draft Live because I selected Roschon Johnson ahead of Zachary Charbonnet because he's a better prospect, and I don't care about the landing spot changed nothing except now the masses have converged to me and Cody. A lot of Cody with that, but we emerged victorious with our Roschon Johnson take. So I'm out on Zachary Charbonnet. I personally do not like. Thank you, Jason. Just put in our private chat. There's a reason he transferred out of Michigan. I was literally just getting ready to say I personally do not like running backs who get chased out of bad running back rooms. You guys remember Trey Sermon? Was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about him.
Out of town. Granted, he got kicked out of town by Ramondre Stevenson, but still not a great look. And it's even worse for Charbonnet because he got beat out by Hassan Haskins. And it's not like Michigan had this lucrative running back program where they're churning out these highly touted picks. No, there's no one there. And Charbonnet couldn't compete. And then we see graphics. There's a PFF graphic I saw a while back on running back offensive line blocking, and UCLA, Zachary Charbonnet, it's all their running backs plotted out by season, and you see this massive increase in offensive line blocking, offensive line quality when Zachary Charbonnet transfers to UCLA. So how much of this was just simply added opportunity and in a solid run blocking scheme? So I don't really think he's that guy. And, If the film grinders beat me on this one, then so be it. But I've been out from the beginning, and I'm going to remain to be completely out on the DeMarco Murray best comparable. Jayden Reed truther as well.
Oh, Jayden Reed. I'm so mad. Why Packers? They avoided the JSN, but then they had to go with Jayden Reed, which is one of my favorite player profiler favorite for sure. But yeah, I'm becoming more of a film grinder, Matt Babich. So I'm trying to get on that team. It's hard to get on. I don't know how many people you have to kill to get on that film grinders team, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm willing to become a murderer to get on the team, but we'll see. So I'm trying to get on the team, and Roschon Johnson, to me, on tape, looked better than Zach Charbonnet. But that's just my humble opinion. We have Disco Stew in the chat. He doesn't agree with me, and he did correct his spelling mistake of Hrudling, which I don't know what Hrudling is, but then he said hurdling. So I don't know. Is hurdling a skill that running backs need to have to be successful in the NFL?
No,
yeah.
But
name one all-star running back that hasn't hurdled somebody. Go.
I don't know. Zach Charbonnet?
Zach Charbonnet. Wait, what? He's not a star.
I don't think
I fell for that.
Does Derrick Henry hurdle?
He
just runs away.
Somebody.
He would just step over.
Yeah, he stiff arms people. He's like, yeah, I don't need to jump. Just get out of here.
Marshawn Lynch in that epic run against, was it the Saints? Did he hurdle anybody?
The Beastquake. I don't think so.
I don't think so. No.
I don't think he did.
No.
We got Cody Carpentier in the chat. Walter Payton maybe hurdled people.
Sweetness,
I guess.
Sweetness totally did.
Yeah,
man. Totally.
Yeah,
did.
he was like, looking back on him, he was kind of an undersized player if I remember right, but I could be wrong.
Barry too.
But yeah, Barry Sanders. So some of my, just real quick, and then I'm gonna run an ad here in a bit. I'm going to be a Xavier Hutchinson guy. I'm going to ride or die with Xavier Hutchinson. I don't care. He got drafted 6th round to the Texans. It's kind of a sneaky good landing spot, really. He could rise up the ranks in that wide receiver room for sure. But, I like Roschon. Roschon Johnson's going to be on a lot of my teams. Marvin Mims, I sneaky like that situation in Denver because I don't know if they like a lot of their receivers. I mean, there were trade talks leading up to the NFL draft with Sutton, with Judy, and then they go and sign Judy, maybe just so they can trade him later on. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know if they know what's going on. So those are a few. Jayden Reed I like, but you guys covered a lot of it. So we are going to run a quick ad here, but you stay right where you are because we're going to play Buy, Hold, or Sell, which is a tame version of Mary. What's the Mary? What am I thinking of?
Is it
Mary Kill?
Yeah. Without getting us demonetized, we might have already been demonetized by Matt Babich, but it's okay. You said anyway. It doesn't matter. I'm in the YouTube meetings now. We talk about these things, so at least nobody.
That's information you should relate to me. Like, hey Matt, you should probably think about not getting the show demonetized. And I'd be like,
we're not sure.
Words like poop, Matt.
Yeah. Well, that might get us demonetized for the other reason. It's like they probably would have preferred you use the other word. It's kind of like Ross and Friends when he's driving too slow. It drives the audience away. I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm gonna run an ad here, real quick. But stick with us because we have more Dynasty discussion coming up. We're gonna talk more about these rookies. We're gonna get some bold predictions from these guys in the future. I don't even know what they're gonna talk about, but real quick, we have a message from the Podfather. If I can find it, here we go.
Oh, I'm wearing Cody's hat in honor of Cody Carpentier. He has finished the rookie guide. It is a masterpiece, the best rookie guide you will read that combines both real NFL draft analysis and fantasy analysis. This guy goes deep. I mean, do you know who Tyon Evans is? This man wrote up and ranked 40 running backs, 40 wide receivers, 15 quarterbacks, and 23 tight ends. 23 tight ends? Yes, he did. We've got fantasy rookie draft cheat sheets for super flex and single quarterback to go along with these write-ups that include analytics player comps and play style player comps. All the stats you need, the analysis you need to understand what kind of impact these guys are going to have in the NFL and for your fantasy team. So go to playerprofiler.com, go to any player page, go to the NFL draft section, and click the button to get the rookie guide. It's just $10. That's it. That's all. It's not the most expensive, but it is the best.
All right, we are back on the roundtable, and go ahead and go get that rookie guide. Cody, other people at Player Profiler wrote up some of those profiles. It's an amazing, still actionable thing that you need in your life right now, and it's just $10. So go to playerprofiler.com and get the rookie guide. All right. Is it my question or is it your question, Matt Babich? Because I can't remember.
It is my question. I actually forgot for a second as well. So we were playing buy, sell, or hold. The rules of the game are fairly self-explanatory, I would hope. Jason, we will start with you. Devon, Achane, are we buying, selling, or holding?
Yeah, I guess I alluded to it earlier, but I'm buying right now. And I think Seth has a similar answer to me. So if I'm allowed to, I might just pass it to him, see what he has to say.
Oh, you want me to answer? Okay.
I don't want to say what you're gonna say, which is
all right.
What I was gonna say.
I'm gonna let Ed go because I have a complicated answer that might require some math or some stupid quotes. I don't know, but Ed, what do you think?
So I mean, I think Achane's a sell right now. He's my voice just cracked too, right? Didn't it? Yeah, it did. That's all right.
Yeah, it's okay.
Whatever. That demonetizes us right there. I think he's a sell for sure. I mean, he's going in the back end of the first round of single QB leagues. I've seen him sneak up into the first round of some super flex leagues. Tight end premium. You choosing between a tight end there and Achane. Some people go Achane. 188 pounds. I just can't get past that in my head. I really can't. And then how many touches is he actually going to get on the Dolphins? Right. Are we talking 10 a game? So you're really like just banking on him hitting a home run. Like, is that going to happen? 5 games out of the year? Are you going to start him those 5 games during the year? I'm gonna trade that pick if Achane is there and or it's in that range of picks, right? And hope somebody takes Achane with the pick I just traded so I can pick somebody else.
Well, here's the deal. Here's what you got to do. All right, buckle up your ears for this one. You got to buy him right now, and then once the season gets closer and all this Miami hype starts building, like, oh my God, can you imagine Mike McDaniel, Devon Achane in that system? Oh my God. So take him right now where he's being drafted, because right now he's actually being devalued, if you can believe that, because people like us are telling you Devon Achane's no good. And Devon Achane, you're right, is no good. You're right. But trust me on this one. Draft him now, trade him later. And then when he gets hurt, inevitably, because all the Miami running backs get hurt. Like you remember all those San Francisco running backs that get hurt, like the Elijah Mitchells of the world. Yeah, like even Christian McCaffrey was banged up towards the end of the season because they get used because they love to run the ball. Then when he gets hurt and maybe he's out for an extended period of time, then you buy him again. Like then you buy low. So the answer is you buy right now, sell before the season, and then when he gets hurt, buy him again.
I could get behind that, Seth. I could get behind that. Especially that like preseason's going to happen. He's going to hit this huge run, and it's going to be like Amir Abdullah all over.
Yeah. Amir Abdullah is perfect.
I get it.
There's going to be a cut. He's going to catch a pass in the flat. He's going to make somebody miss. He's going to be off to the races, and then you're going to be able to sell him for like a 2024 first or something stupid like that.
Seth gets the right answer sound effect, I think.
I wish we had it. Where's Matty?
We need a
Good answer. Good answer.
Where's Matty? Where's my
Good
applause?
answer.
Where's my applause? I was right. I've been right on Roschon Johnson. Well, everybody was right on Roschon Johnson. But Matt Babich,
I don't really have much to add. I had what you said, really. I mean, we ended up kind of being in agreement here. It's going. I don't think you have to draft him necessarily to buy him before the offseason, because I think there's going to be a lot of talk as mini camp starts on, he's not the guy yet, and the first depth chart's going to be released, and he's probably going to be the third string behind Wilson and Mostert. And that's going to cause a panic. And then preseason's going to happen, and he's going to fumble or he's going to drop a pass. And now all of a sudden it's going to be, is this guy they spent capital on? Is he just going to be another athletic guy that gets a few touches here and there and is kind of a decoy or a one-trick pony? And then when the actual season starts and he's out on the field and he has more juice and the same, if not better, pass catching ability than both Mostert and Jeff Wilson, he'll eventually start getting those high value touches that we're looking for. And then, that right before that happens, essentially, is your perfect buy window. So I'm okay taking him where he's going in drafts, but I think that you might get a slight dip before the season starts because of preseason activity.
All right. Same question, Ed. Buy, sell, or hold Kendre Miller.
I'm going to buy Kendre Miller. I haven't seen him creep up into the first round of rookie drafts yet. And he is, right in that second round sweet spot, probably between the 201, 206, maybe even a little later than that. And he's got a path to touches, first year touches for sure, without some major injury happening. I think he definitely sees some touches, particularly with Kamara's legal situation. Who knows what's going to happen with that or when that's going to go down, but I think something probably is going to go down. I think the Saints were, anticipating that, and that's why they took Miller here. So I'm buying because he's still pretty affordable.
What do you think, Jason? Buy, sell, or hold on Miller?
Yep, same thing. Buying, waiting to see what happens with Kamara, and then kind of going from there. It's not an offense I really want to be a part of at the end of the day, but if Kamara is gone and you're a starting running back on an offense, 50% running back on the offense, depending on how we look at Jamal Williams, probably better than Jamal Williams in the grand scheme. So I'm buying. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I almost kind of forgot about Jonathan Williams. I am all over the place with names today. Jamal Williams. Are we sure then that Kendre Miller is going to get any goal line touches? Because we know damn sure he's not going to catch passes. Darn sure he's not going to catch patches.
Damn's good. You're good on Dan. I think you can say Dan.
Okay.
We're still deliberating on these things. It could have been because there might have been a tight end with a nasty last name. That could have been why we were getting demonetized, but I digress.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we know Kendre Miller's not going to catch passes. He's not going to catch passes if he's not getting the goal line work. Then what's he doing? He's a 2 carry back, in the 4 down set. So we're not really getting anything valuable out of Kendre Miller. Weighted opportunities is the heaviest predictor of fantasy points for running backs, and the heaviest contributors to weighted opportunities are receptions and goal line touches or red zone touches. And if he's not going to be the go-to in the red zone, or he's going to be splitting work with Jamal Williams and he's not going to be taking any of the pass catching duties, then he's overvalued right now, plain and simple. He's RB3 right now in the Dynasty rankings, which I think is probably okay because Jamal Williams is not really going to be there past a year probably. So long term, I'm not out on Kendre Miller. So I wrote buy and then sell, and then as I let the process kind of sink in, I'm flipping it, and I'm actually going to sell in the beginning, and then I'm going to buy. So I guess that means I'm a hold. Is that what a hold is?
Yeah.
I don't know. That was
I think
confusing.
That's what a hold is.
I think a hold means that you just don't have an opinion.
I always have an opinion.
You're not.
Yeah, I think maybe the landing spot. I mean, it's all right. Like it's not a Miami Dolphins landing spot. I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, because long term, I think it's good for Dynasty. But I guess I'm buying. I'm not as enthusiastic about saying it as I am about Roschon or maybe even Devon Achane, even though I don't like the profile as much. But yeah, I like Kendre Miller. I like the landing spot. I'm just not head over heels. But if you're gonna make me commit to an answer, I'm gonna say buy. So yeah, I guess I don't have too much to add. We do have some comments here, real quick. Ed's a zagger. You're a zagger, Ed.
That's how you win fantasy
you're a
football,
zagger.
Harry Snowman. You know this.
That's
Harry
right.
Snowman's a sharp guy. Sharp guy.
Najee Harris was the king of hurdles and the underrated running back in Dynasty. I kind of agree, but isn't Najee?
That.
Yeah, Najee's a kind of an older prospect, though, and he's going to be like 25, 24.
It's
Yeah, that's not bad.
I mean, he's underrated if you need touches, but like, I mean, you're relying upon like a Joe Mixon outcome, right? Like that's who he is.
Yeah.
Are you excited about Joe Mixon? A younger Joe Mixon? I don't know. Probably not.
Steelers did pick up a left tackle in the draft, maybe one of the better left tackles in the draft, Broderick Jones. So that helps him out. I'm a Sky Moore guy, so I don't know about this question. Do you guys think Tony is a league winner?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, if you do not have Tony on your roster, then you do have a good shot at winning a league. So yeah, I mean, he is a league winner. Championship rosters will not have him on. Well, they'll not be on championship rosters. So yeah, he's a league winner. You just got to.
He will win you. He'll win you weeks because he'll be healthy for weeks. He'll be.
He literally hopped into the end zone. I don't know if he was injured or not, but he literally hopped into the end zone because he may or may not have rolled an ankle during a play. Like I love the spot. I love the potential.
Yeah.
But man, I think Sky Moore, as a result, I know they drafted Rashee Rice, but they lost Hardman and Juju Smith-Schuster. So I think that I'm a Sky Moore guy. That's just how my cookie crumbles. But let's see, Mingo, Reed, or Rice. I'm Reed. Give me Jayden Reed.
Same.
We'll talk more about him later. Hey, and Matt's been sharp as a whip tonight, so good on you, Matt.
Well, thank you, Harry.
Yeah, Harry's shouting Matt out. So we do have a few more players we want to cover. Let's see, where are we at, Matt? Which player are we on?
I'm kind of stuck on this comment because
Which one?
Have I not been? Have I not? Is this the first time? I think it's the first time I've impressed Harry.
Well, you're choosing to look at it like half empty instead of glass half full. You need to be you need more positivity. You've always been sharp, man.
I do need more positivity.
Yeah,
I just got a diffuser.
Yeah, this running back class is good, isn't it? This running back class is good.
Nice.
This running back class is good. Positive energy.
Speaking of
Bijan Robinson.
Speaking of positive energy, Jason, what do you think about Jonathan Mingo? Buy, selling, or holding?
I guess I'll take the hold. I don't think that means I don't have an opinion. I do have an opinion. It's just the opinion is that his market is not set yet, and I don't think it will be set anytime soon. What I like about Mingo is that he's the youngest wide receiver on this team. He's going to have a chance to now come in with a rookie quarterback and develop together, I guess, and he's a good enough prospect. But I honestly just don't, again, like I kind of talked about with the Saints, I don't necessarily want a Panthers wide receiver. But if all things fall his way, he does become the alpha, then, I mean, we're going to be wishing that we bought him. It's just right now, definitely not selling and probably not going out to pay up to get him in terms of buying. But if I have him, he's on my team.
That's probably the right take, I think. I mean, I put him as a sell in the show sheet only because there are a couple wide receivers, one of whom we're going to talk about later, that I think is okay around there. But I mean, ultimately, I'm just not really impressed with a lot of these wide receivers outside of the big four, right? And maybe it's just, to me, it's just like you're just hoping. You got great draft capital with Jonathan Mingo, and he's a lottery ticket. And I'd rather try and cash that lottery ticket out for a veteran as opposed to, hoping and hitting on it. That's just how I do it.
He has all the potential in the world. He's got the size. He's got a good opportunity with the Panthers and Bryce Young. So I love the spot. I love the landing spot. Love the draft capital. So I'm probably buying him because I don't know if he's going to go as high as he should based on landing spot and draft capital that he should and the profile. So he's a buy for me. I thought he would be a little bit. He'd probably get drafted a little bit lower than this. I thought he would go like mid to late second round. So I think he, like I said, I think it's a good spot for him. Matt, what do you think?
I'm buying for sure. When you look, we talked earlier about profiles that I'm willing to take a chance on. And although Jonathan Mingo gives me big Denzel Mims vibes when I look at his profile, he's a late breakout who didn't necessarily overwhelm with his college performance, but was a solid producer and did flash talent on film and athletic monsters. Now, what may have come down to that was drive, dog rating, something we can't necessarily quantify unless you're Cody Carpentier. I'm willing to take a shot on Jonathan Mingo with the draft capital, with the situation he lands on. He's getting paired with a franchise quarterback in Bryce Young. He's going into an offense where the target competition will be very friendly, and he can very well be the number one target on this offense by mid-season. At his capital, I'm willing to be wrong. I'll take the flyer on Jonathan Mingo all day with the situation and the prospect profile, and I suppose, maybe fool me twice and we have to reassess the process, but I think we're gonna be right on this one and we're gonna hit with Jonathan Mingo.
All right. Few comments. I don't know why we're on the hurdling thing. Like why we don't count hurdles, Le'Veon Bell.
That's the new metric that's dropping this year, isn't it, Seth?
Points. Does anybody want to play with me in my points per pancake and points per hurdle league, or no? Or do we not want that? Okay. All right. It's the herd. It might be. I don't know. In which case, Najee Harris is the 101 apparently. Let's see. Ranks up there with "Never Let Me Slip," because if I slip, then I'm slipping by Dr. Dre. Let me ride.
I love that.
I don't know what that means, but hey, more power to you,
I don't know what
Amelius.
it's reference to.
It was because I said if I have him, he's on my team.
Oh, little Magic Johnson tweeting esque vibes out of that. I love it.
All right. And Vatican, I love you. I can tell that we'd get along if I met you in real life, but you got to calm down a little bit on this Kadarius Toney, because Kadarius Toney has never done he's never really done anything, has he? Has he done anything?
He's looked very cool. He's made some very nice jukes.
I mean, he did have a good punt return in the Super Bowl. I remember that. That was pretty good.
Yeah,
he's worth it. Yeah, that was worth the 3rd round pick, I think.
It wasn't the best.
That was I'm not joking around about that. That's a true story. We have one more player. To go through. And I think we might all be in consensus with this one. What do you think of Jayden Reed? Are you buying, holding, or selling Jayden Reed, Ed?
I think this might be like take lock only because prior to the draft, you were getting him at the 4th round of rookie drafts.
I do remember those days. Those were good days.
That's not going to happen anymore, though, right?
Yeah.
He's solidly in the 2nd round, and I think I'm probably going to sell him at that price. I think I'd rather flip him for a vet, particularly if it's like mid-2nd and my team's like a little frisky, a little close. I'll take a stab at Mike Evans or Hopkins or some other guy that is an established guy that would give me maybe, guaranteed fantasy points as opposed to Jayden Reed, who I'm hoping, right, I'm hoping on a lot of different factors there, right? We're hoping that Jordan Love is good, right? Yep. We're hoping that he's able to carve out a role with Christian Watson on the team, right? We're hoping that some of the other, the tight end, the Musgrave that they took, right, doesn't eat into, his opportunities there. So there's a lot of factors that I think go in there, and I'd rather just punt it and go with somebody who's a little bit more established there, and that's why I'm selling him.
Jason, what do you think?
I guess I everything I was going to say is exactly what Ed said, but I guess I'm more in the hold category because I would like to see if those things do happen. I am big on Christian Watson, so I don't see him, outperforming Christian Watson. I still haven't decided how I feel about Jordan Love. I'm just going to have to, unfortunately, take the wait and see. I mean, obviously his one game last year was pretty sweet, especially for Christian Watson, but we'll just kind of have to see but like you said, if those factors, if Jordan Love is good, if he can carve out a role, if Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave don't become the next Aaron Gonzalez Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, then it'll be okay. But we don't know what's going to happen. So many moving pieces are happening on this offense that it's hard to want to, again, like Mingo, go out and spend up to get this player.
I think those are really good arguments, and I'm sitting here and I'm not really sure if what I have prepared for Jayden Reed makes more sense than that, because there are so many question marks. And as somebody who wanted to say bye, I'm looking at the prospect profile and the potential and the talent that's there. And it's undeniable. His best comparable is Stephon Diggs. He has Christian Kirk, Chris Olave, T.Y. Hilton, and Rashad Bateman to round out his top five. Cody comps his play style as Percy Harvin Light. These are all really, really promising things that get you excited. Mm-hmm. But if Jordan Love isn't the guy, how far away is Green Bay from becoming an offense that's pass first or pass heavy? Do they supplement Jordan Love's play by being 60 or being one of the more run heavy teams with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon? Mm-hmm. So if he's looking at a 18% target share week one in an offense that's, we'll say bottom 20 or 20 to 31 to 20 to 32 in pass rate, mm-hmm. then we're looking at a pretty unappetizing year one. And then if things don't pan out with Jordan Love, they're taking a gamble on a new quarterback, and that's a whole nother set of uncertainty. And we talk about what Ed mentioned is that his value just a short while ago before the draft was so far below where it is now. And the cost of drafting Jayden Reed at his current price means you're buying the scenarios with more certainty, like Jordan Addison, and I mean even Zay Flowers has a lot of question mark, but Quentin Johnson, you're pairing up Jayden Reed with those scenarios that have a lot higher draft cap or have higher draft capital and better certainty. So I'm going to side with Jason now and say I'm going to hold.
Yeah, I'm going to buy because he's a Packer and he's probably going to light up the scoreboard on the Bears. But Jordan, we were super excited with all these landing spots, Luke Musgrave, Jayden Reed, and I had one question for the guys as they were like jumping up. I didn't want to be a Debbie Downer, so I didn't bring it up. I was tucked away in my corner on day two. Like I was up in the news desk and I just want to report the trades. I didn't want to bring down the jubilation that everyone else was experiencing. So, but I did put it in the private chat. I said, what if Jordan Love isn't good? Because we don't really have any proof that he is good, right? So that's definitely potentially a problem, but they seem committed to him. So we'll see what happens. But I'm a buy for now because I like the talent, and I think talent wins it out in the end. We do have some more chats. Thank you to Disco Stew. Let's see. Yeah, Amelia, we have some Bears talk in the chat, so I love that. This is a pseudo Bears show, basically. Ryan Poles, man. Ryan Poles is the best GM we've had in my lifetime, which is not saying very much, but he is. It's a good feeling. It's a really good feeling. All right, it's time to get you guys out of here. We're up against the clock here tonight, so stay tuned to the Player Profiler YouTube channel. The GOAT District guys are going to go on right after us, but we do want to get you guys out of here with bold predictions and plugs. So Ed, plug whatever you've got to plug and give us whatever bold prediction you want to give. You could go in any direction here because we are now post-draft. We're in kind of a weird place. We don't really know which way is south or north. I mean, we're headed somewhere, but it's going to be a while before we're there. So give us your plugs and bold prediction.
So I think I have an article coming out shortly on the top 5 values of the draft. Matt had talked about how Chris Ballard just smashed out of the park. One of his players is on that list. The Colts had a great draft, really. There's stud athletes everywhere. So good. So that's coming out. I think I'm probably going to be working on part 3 of what you should be doing in your Dynasty League. That should be coming out shortly. That's like sort of like I wouldn't say like a newbie, but a lesser inexperienced Dynasty players. It's sort of just a grounding type of article as to what you should be doing, and probably going to be focusing on how to navigate the rookie draft, because you can do a lot of trading in the rookie draft and really get a lot of stuff done. For bold take, I'll go back to good old Gabe Davis. All right, he survived the draft. All right, Nuke Hopkins is staying on the Cardinals, and he's still catching footballs from Josh Allen. He may not be great, he may not be an amazing football player, but he's got some amazing football players around him, and that's why he's going to finish as a top 24 wide receiver this coming year. It's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
Don't do
It's
it.
happening. The variance will happen.
We do not endorse this bold prediction as a show.
Jason, what bold prediction and plugs? What do you got to plug, and what's your bold prediction?
You can see me on Wake and Take Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. on this very YouTube channel. Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Trade Gods, joined with my Trade God brethren, Matty Kiwoom, the dog, the man, the myth, the legend, the god. And then, of course, you can find me on the Instagram and Facebook. That's Player Profiler on Facebook, Roto Underworld on Instagram. Answer every DM, every comment, and at least try my best. And hot take, got to beat Gabe Davis, top 24. Desmond Ridder, top 12 quarterback.
Love it.
Woo! What does that make the Falcons record if he's a top 12 quarterback?
No matter what, they're winning the division.
Oh.
I love how
yes.
that
As somebody who has a future bet on that, I love it.
They can win 7 and win the division. So.
I really think it's going to be 7-10, and they're going to win the division.
But the real
right there.
The real question is, what is Kyle Pitts going to contribute to this division-winning team? Is he going to get the guys coffee? Is he going to block? What's going to happen? Because he's going to be all lonely out there in his X receiver spot, waiting for the ball.
He will be. He will definitely have less fantasy points than Drake London and Bijan Robinson and Desmond Ridder.
Yeah. Matt, what do you got?
All right. So I have, just like Ed, I have a article coming out as well talking about, it's a little bit the opposite. He's positive, I'm negative. I'm talking about the top 5 biggest reaches in the NFL draft. I love putting on my negative Nancy hat and just complaining about how other people do their jobs. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's why I sit here before you today. And a couple general managers that aren't really getting talked about, they're starting to show themselves as backward-thinking organizations. There's a team over in the Bay Area that landed on the list with one of the more shocking picks of the draft. So I'll let you find out about that. And there's a certain early round receiver that I think was a big reach as well. So tune in to find out more about that. And I have a breakdown article on wide receiver advanced metrics. So if you go to the Player Profiler player page, there's 40 advanced metrics. And I talk about nearly each and every one of them and just kind of break it down in further detail and give you some context examples on how to use it in your day-to-day data analysis. So I'll be working on kind of tight ends going forward, and that one will be released TBD. But other than that, we'll be on this show. Rocking and rolling every Wednesday. For my hot take, now I'm going to sound a little bit silly because we just talked about this player and I gave a very lukewarm take, but there is a difference between actual analysis that I will give to people to follow and a bold prediction that I think is fun and would like to see happen. So we're going to break these out for the first time since the NFL draft.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to break out the contrarian shades.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Jayden Reed once again. So this is a different personality. This is not Matt. This is not the Matt that was just talking about Jayden Reed. This is Jason's we didn't give Jason the memo. That's his sunglasses. So Jayden Reed, he's currently wide receiver 6 on the Player Profiler Dynasty rankings. Here are the receivers listed above him that Jayden Reed will outscore in fantasy points per game in year 1. Marvin Mims, Quentin Johnston, and Zay Flowers. All 3. Jayden Reed, wide receiver 3, year 1 as a rookie.
Wow. That's amazing.
It's bright in here.
That's amazing. It's so bright for Jayden Reed. I don't really know what I can say, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you can catch this show 7 p.m. Player Profiler YouTube channel. Smash the like button, subscribe. All you got to do is click it. It's a subscribe button, and you click it, and then you can also click the alarm bell to be notified when we go live. But this show is going to be 7 p.m. Central Time. You can follow me. Well, I'm the editor at Player Profiler. You should go to the article section and read all of these guys' work. There's going to be a series coming out on the NFL draft, risers, fallers, reaches. Ed's is coming out on Friday. Matt is coming out later in the week. I'll let him know. But be tuned for that. Stay tuned for that. And I think that's the show, guys. I think I'm the only one still with the contrarian shades on, which is fine. It's good. It's bright in here. Didn't
know when to take them off.
I didn't know. Clearly, I didn't know either. So until next time, I'm gonna find this. I can't thank Jason enough and Ed enough for coming on the show. We had a blast. It's a great time as always. And I will hit the end screen. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. And that's the Writers Roundtable. Be good, everybody. And nobody cares about Aaron Rodgers. Bye-bye.
Hey, you like that video? Be sure to subscribe and activate those alerts so you get notified as soon as new videos drop. And be sure to check out playerprofiler.com. We have all the tools for you to dominate every type of fantasy league. We have a draft kit, Dynasty Deluxe, data analysis, DFS Dominator, and don't forget the player rankings to rule them all.